Well, I'm going to risk sounding like a broken record here, it must be said, because I'm back with Luton Town as we head into the January transfer window, and we're mirroring real life from the same season yet again. In FM06, we are starting to struggle after our dream start with Luton Town. We return today off the back of 4 straight defeats in all competitions, leaving us out of the FA Cup and at risk of dropping out of the playoffs. And with injuries galore, with a tough transfer window ahead, it promises to start getting tricky from here. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 6 of our FM06 nostalgia trip from Luton Town with me, Daniel. We are back today to face table toppers Reading and high-flying Plymouth Argyle at home as we look to cling on to our playoff place that was caused by a blistering start. We've also got some transfer window news, some sad news ahead for the summer as well. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on and deal with the injury crisis that a couple of episodes ago I said didn't seem to be on the horizon in this game, there's instant karma for you, then please do put a thumbs up on it. But for now, let's have a recap of how we've been getting on and have a look at the world of Luton Town transfers, because if we go and have a look, we have signed 2 players this month, one pre-agreed well before and one that we've agreed just recently. Chris Brunt has come in for £16,000. He will be, by next season at least, our first choice left winger. He's played a bit already because of injuries to Paul Underwood, who's really struggling to stay there this year. And that just mirrors real life as well. Chris Brunt will take over and will be great, but he's had a slow start to his time at Luton Town. And he's been joined at centre-half by Craig Baxter, a young player from Newcastle who has played a couple of games due to an injury crisis in defence, but is likely to be going out on loan again. We've offered him to Wycombe. He's a good player for the future. He wasn't meant to be immediate. He was meant to be the 4th choice when Russell Perrett leaves in the summer. As it is, that might end up happening a bit sooner. And then we've got other decisions to make too. On the other side of that, we've also had some loan players come in because we had a bit of an emergency on the left-hand side. Both Sol Davis and Paul Underwood got injured long-term, a month or more. Enoch Shawunmi then got injured as well, and it left us with just Leon Barnett. So I went in and got Joe Keenan. Martin Craney, who we loaned at the start of the year, has been out injured as well. So Joe Keenan comes in. He's actually a natural holding midfielder. He was a really good player in these FMs because he could play left back, left wing, centre mid, and he could do a job in all of them. So he comes in, he's done well when he's played, but he unfortunately had a little knock for a week or so as well. But 2 assists in 3 matches, I cannot fault him at all. So loans in, transfers out. We've also got a couple more loans potentially going out because Rob Beckwith has returned from his initial one and he's improved massively. Could be a challenger for Lee Grant next year, but I don't want him to get bogged down for now. So he's going to Scunthorpe or Wycombe, having played, 21 games for Cheltenham and done brilliantly. No idea why they didn't want to keep him. And then Zach Barrett has returned from his loan as well. He's improving, but maybe not quickly enough for us. So we're offering him out for loan again. We'll see if he gets to go anywhere. Stephen O'Leary not featuring much for Orient, which is a bit of a concern. Calvin Andrew, though, doing really well. So there are little signs for the future that things might be pretty good. But at the moment, we've got to worry about future transfers out. Because if we look at the summer coming up, well, Ahmet Berkovic is the big news of the day because he did not sign a new deal with us. He's refused it multiple times. And he's then gone and signed a pre-agreement with Coventry City, our championship rivals. He is declining a little at 31, but I would have liked to have kept him for a year or 2 more. I've done the same with Underwood on the other side, offered him a new deal as a backup for next season, which he took. Berkovic didn't want to stay though, and he will leave the club in the summer on a free, annoyingly. But it leaves us a big decision to make, because in addition to him, Russell Perrett, who you can see, and probably Craig Baxter, I've got an offer that might be too good to refuse for Rowan Vine. He was worth £90,000, as you can see here. Southampton just came in and inquired. So I went, do you know what? I'll sell him for £1 million. Not expecting them to then come in with the offer the very next day. So we've now got to make a decision with Rowan Vine as to whether we sell him for £1 million. If we go and have a look at the inbox, that is what we're waiting on at the moment. It's the reason we're back a few days early for this one. So we're going to go and negotiate that in a minute and get through to Saturday. I'm probably going to try and eke £1.5 million and a bit of a sell on. Otherwise, I think I'm going to have to accept it, quite frankly. Let's very quickly have a look at the results, though, because things have taken a turn, and there's no doubt that these injuries have contributed. We've had Craney out, Heikkinen, Sol Davis, Edwards, Shawunmi. We've also been missing Underwood for the most part, and Warren Feeney has just come back and made his first start in the cup game at the weekend, where things went to, well, pretty disastrous realms if we're being honest. You were with me as we beat Wolves after that big defeat against Liverpool. However, we did bounce back, we did well. Actually only lost one of our next 5 games in the league. You saw the Wolves one. We got a 1-0 draw against Preston thanks to Ahmet Berkovic who scored there. A 2-0 defeat at Cardiff wasn't our finest hour, but we got revenge with a 3-0 win away at Millwall thanks to Coyne Heikkinen and Howard. A 3-2 win on Boxing Day against Leeds. Rowan Vine scoring the winner after Dean Morgan popped up with a brace. 2 days later though, it was a bit too much for us. A 4-3 defeat against Coventry. Ironically, that's happened both times where we've played twice in 3 days. We've just run out of steam at the end. An own goal, Nichols and Howard there. And that was the start of a run of 4 straight defeats. 2-1 against Sheffield Wednesday, where Steve Howard got the goal. 1-0 at home to Norwich. And in the FA Cup against Cardiff, the worst of the lot. Dean Morgan scored 2. We were ahead into the 90th minute. Conceded 2 goals in stoppage time to Alan Lee, who was on there. There were no centre-halves fitting on the pitch, really. It was a tough one. Baxter and Perrett actually started the game at centre-half. Baxter had a good game, to be fair to him, but Perrett tired later on. Keenan was nowhere near fit. He was on the bench because we were down to the bare bones. And as a result, we threw it away late on because Perrett just didn't have anything left to give. That's all in the past, though. We've got a very difficult run of fixtures coming up. We've just lost to Norwich, who are up there. Reading, as I mentioned, right at the top of the table on 55 points. You've seen we've got Hull in the next couple of weeks as well. They're up in third too. And then the likes of Palace, who would be expecting to get promoted. This is not going to be an easy run of fixtures. But at the moment, it's been a pretty busy time and we've managed to stay in the mix. So hopefully we'll find a result soon. We'll be back in a minute for Saturday's game. And hopefully Rowan Vine will be going for massive money, which will let us rebuild the team. Well, I'm not going to accept it, but we have been offered a pretty interesting deal here because we've been offered a deal by Sheffield Wednesday to transfer Rob Beckwith for Tommy Spur and 50 grand. Now, Tommy Spur becomes a pretty decent player in most of the early FMs, and it's a position I need, but I'm not going to accept it because Beckwith is a player I've got high hopes for. But love the swap deals in here. There's so many offers you get that are money plus a player. I do miss that a little bit in the modern FMs, but on this occasion, not going to accept the deal. Well, we've reached match day against table toppers Reading, and you will notice a couple of big things on this team screen. Rob Beckwith is now out on loan. He has left to go to Wickham. We've got a couple of other players under offer at the moment. I've delayed the Baxter 1 week just because Heikkinen is only 2 weeks away from fitness, and Craney, who's been out for ages, is only a few weeks away. So if we can delay him and Perrett 1 week, should leave us in an absolutely fine position. We've also got a couple back from loan, the likes of Andrew and O'Leary. O'Leary might be more important now, given that Berkovic is leaving. And there's also no Rowan Vine, who we couldn't negotiate the price up, but has gone to Southampton for £1 million with a 10% sell on as well. So potentially a bit more money in the future. Lots of backup players wanted. I'd sell Peter Holmes if we got a good enough offer. At the moment, he's considered new deals, but he wants a pay rise, which I'm not going to do. So let's pick our 11 for today's game, getting rid of the injury crisis that I said I'm sure wouldn't come along. The good news is we've got Chris Coyne back, so Russell Perrett can drop out, and that leaves us at the very least a little bit stronger than we were before. Baxter moves over to right centre half, and Perrett should fill the other space on the bench if I've got it right. That was by Rowan Vine, of course, before he left. Just making some decisions in midfield. Paul Underwood is back to fitness, but he's not fully fit. We have got a week between games at the minute, though, so I'm going to leave him in. I'm going to leave Barnett in. Chris Brunt and Keenan will be on the bench for now. I'm not sure that it's the right decision, but I think it's the best I can do. So we're going to stick with a team that's pretty strong. Warren Feeney's really struggling for fitness. So Dean Morgan will come back in up front. Got 2 off the bench in the cup. I think that's going to be the only other change that's not enforced. Peter Holmes misses out on the squad because Keenan and Robinson can both play centre mid. Let's go and get through to the big game against the table toppers and see if after 4 defeats in a row, we can rediscover some form. I'm guessing not. It's the famous duo of Kitson and Lita up front. I know a lot of you in the comments have been talking about some of the strike partnerships in this game, but that is basically the crux of that brilliant Reading team that went up, isn't it? You've got the 2 Icelandics, you've got Sidwell, you've got Graham Murty at the back, Harneman, the Rock goalkeeper. I mean, it's a class old side, isn't it? Let's see how we compete against it as we go into the first half. I'm a little bit more pessimistic now, given our recent injuries and form, as Foley's got an attacking throw on the right. Ingemarson does well to clear it, And Lita flicks on long towards Kitson, and we should get there first. Baxter at the back will be going out on loan soon. We've sent Beckwith to Wickham in goal. Baxter will probably be playing in front of him. But how is he going to do in these championship games first? Not ideal that we're having to start someone who's going out on loan to League 2 next week. But hopefully Heikkinen will be back before long. We saw how good he was in the last couple of episodes. He's someone we've really missed back there in this run. And now we've got a real decision to make. Because the only striker on the bench is Warren Feeney. Dean Morgan's just picked up a knock. Steve Howard's had an awful start. I feel like I'm going to have to try and get Morgan through at least like half an hour. So I don't think Feeney's got more than 60 minutes in him. I've not really got anyone else on the bench, though. Underwood releases Morgan. Let's see how fit he is. Plays a 1-2 with Howard. Drifts left and gives it to Leon Barnett, who's doing an admirable job covering out there. Underwood switches to Berkovic. Both strikers in the middle. And so is Keith Keane. Brilliant run from the midfielder. He is bona fide as the first choice centre mid now. No young right back there. Keith Keane is becoming a starlet of this team. A brilliant young player, improving a lot. And he is also working towards becoming natural at centre mid. So hopefully before long he will do. 25 gone, we're 1-0 up, we're playing well. It's actually been a really good start as Nichols finds Keane. I say this, we were leading against Cardiff in the Cup. It was all going well. As Howard flicks on with a brilliant header. And it's well saved by Marcus Hahnemann. Out for a throw-in out wide. And we are piling the pressure on. Now we've got another injury. I think half an hour gone. Let's do them both because Joe Keenan is fit, as is Chris Brunt. I don't think I've got an excuse out there. So Chris Brunt will come on the left of midfield. Dean Morgan replaced by Feeney. So there you go. I took the gamble. One of them who was coming back from injury, I started. One I left on the bench. And it doesn't matter. Both positions, we picked up the injury regardless. Feeney and Brunt on. 2 subs gone in 30 minutes. Not the ideal start again. The injuries are starting to cripple me, though. Kevin Nichols on the free kick and Howard on the rebound with electric anticipation. Fox in the box like skills from the big man. And he scores one with his feet, which is a rarity. 2-0 Luton. Forget about the injuries. We are finding some form when it matters most. A brilliant first half performance. And if those injuries aren't bad, this could be a very good weekend. Glenn Little's going to get a booking there as well. Their whole right wing's on the yellow card. We are playing well at the minute. As Marcus Hahnemann goes for the long kick. Coins up with Kitson and wins it. Chris Brunt does really well to find Steve Howard. He gives it away though. Nichols can't get there. Now we might give away a poor one. Baxter up. Brilliant header. He's had a good game again. Maybe I shouldn't be loaning him out. As Keith Keane finds Kevin Nichols. Wide towards Foley on the right. Down the line to Berkovic, who I need a big half a year from. He might be leaving. He's got to show that he's still committed at the minute. Big ball forward towards Nichols. Sidwell beats him to it. Baxter's up again though and does so well. Keith Keane to Barnett as we keep the pressure on. It's a long ball to Brunt who's got himself free. Brilliant save by the keeper. Lovely first time effort. I'm really impressed with this. We've not looked like winning for weeks. And this has been a really good display. Even at Cardiff one where we were ahead in the cup. We were really struggling to control the match. Here though, good performance. Let's keep it going. And try and save that final sub. Can we avoid a second half injury please? Because I'd like at least one sub to be tactical or fitness bound late on. As we've got a throw deep in our defensive half with Kevin Foley. Now Howard flicks on and I tell you what, Warren Feeney's going to get there. He's got acres of space to run into. The only worry is he's not fully fit. He's been out for ages. Can he get back with a bang and score? Feeney across the box, tipped towards Brunt. He's got a chance to play back, but crosses again. Beats everyone and Convey clears downfield. Oh, it's such a good performance. This is what we were doing early in the season. Up towards Howard in the box, who loses out, but it's only cleared as far as Barnett and Nichols. And Luton Town continue to pile the pressure on as we've got a free kick in the opposition half. This might be the game where Chris Brunt arrives as Baxter goes up towards Feeney. Headed away as far as Kevin Foley, the other young Irish star. Feeney can flick on down the line but goes alone to the byline. Crosses deflected for a corner. I'm cheering every ball. We're playing fantastic stuff. These are the table toppers. This is the form we've been waiting for. They're saving it for on camera, the big games. That's what it is. Feeney's taking the corner. Not sure why. Baxter's there at the front post. Not able to win it though. Nearly an hour gone. We're still 2-0 up and doing brilliantly. As Graham Murty's got the ball at right back. Dodgy back pass. It's out to Chris Makin on the left-hand side. Releases Convey down the wing. And now Foley's got a job to do to get back here. He's not going to make it. Convey across the box to Kitson. And deflects in off Chris Coyne. I think it probably would have gone in anyway. But this is what great sides do, don't they? They find a goal out of nowhere and it turns the game. We're still playing well. I'm not going to change anything. But I'm definitely more alarmed than I was a moment ago. As Feeney tries to break that pass up, but he doesn't get there. Graham Murty to Glenn Little, and now Steve Sidwell. Forced back by Keane, who gets in there. It looked like a little bit of an aggressive challenge. It's only going to be a yellow, I think. No, just a warning. Oh, I missed the 2000s where you didn't get booked for every challenge. It's going to be a free kick for Ibrahim Sonko. The big man scored 2 headers against us when we met in August. Howard wins it back via Feeney and clears it downfield. But it's gone from a dominant display to sort of clinging on a little bit in the last 10 minutes. As Coyne wins the header for Brunt, can we find a way to re-establish the 2-goal lead? Or even just get out of our own half at the minute would be quite nice. Sidwell forced inside by Kevin Nichols. Finds Kevin Harper. Big switch out there to Murty. He's got space to run into. It's not Kevin Harper, is it? It's James Harper. Got the names wrong. Kitson heads over. Baxter struggling in that aerial duel. But we're clinging on for now. 25 to go. I'm thinking about the final sub. It probably should be Berkovic. With Edwards out, I don't know who to bring on. What I might do to go a little bit more defensive is just take off Berkovic, push Keane out to right midfield, and then bring on the experience of Steve Robinson in the middle. A little bit harsh, I know, on Joe Keenan. I don't want to mess with a defensive line. Leon Barnett's doing all right. And I also don't want to mix the balance up with Nichols playing left centre midfield because he's been the star so far. 10 remaining. We're ahead at the minute. But there's no doubt Reading have grown into this. They've been the better since getting their first goal. Kevin Doyle's on up front. Johnny Mullins, a future Luton player, on at right back. And now, look at them, they're playing through us. Chris Coyne steps in though. Great challenge up towards Feeney, who just doesn't look fit. Foley gets the ball away though. Brilliant run down the right. He's got an option down the line. Goes for the big switch. Chris Brunt is found. Flicks on for Feeney. Can he nick a goal? A poacher's finish will do. Sonko's in with a tackle and he must have got the ball. It's brilliant defending if he does. Long ball forward towards Kitson. And before I can even talk about that, we've got to focus on defending. But that's the benefit of Keith Keane out wide. Doing his defensive work, helping Foley out. But they're going to get one more chance. These games always work that way. Graham Murty overhits a free kick. I was going to ask why we're seeing that as a key highlight, but I'll happily watch that. That was a dangerous situation and we made it count. There's 1 minute of stoppage time to go. And Leon Barnett has it from our free kick up towards Steve Howard. Chris Coyne loses the flick on to Doyle, but it's down to Baxter. Barnett downfield. He's going to get another chance at it. Just hoof it down the line. Play short to Chris Brunt. Howard's running off him. Just hold it up, Steve. Sonko's across. Howard does brilliantly. Steve Howard to wrap it up. Good save by the goalkeeper again. But it's exactly where we want to be. And we've got to throw in with 20 seconds to go. That should be game over. It should be job done. It's been a gargantuan effort against a side of this quality. And for 60 minutes, we were brilliant. For 30 minutes, we've gritted our teeth and been rock solid. And we've got a free kick with 4 minutes up. All we wait for now is that whistle. Because this display has deserved 3 points. And finally, after 4 defeats in a row, it's going to get 3 points. A 2-1 victory for Luton Town. And the only question we've got to ask now, how bad are those 2 injuries? Do we need more loans? That's the next question. Well, here comes the dreaded moment as we're back up to 4th in the league, 5 points clear of 7th place. Rowan Fine goes for £1 million. There are other transfers elsewhere. And we've got an offer for one of our youngsters, which we will consider in a minute. What I want to know, though, is injuries. How bad are they? There's nothing suggesting any. So maybe, yeah, both Underwood and Morgan, we got them off early enough. This time we've had a bit of good news. Carlos Edwards should be back next week as well. There are positives on the horizon. We're just starting to get a few players back to full fitness. Back in a moment for the next game. It's going to be a huge one against Plymouth Argyle. Well, we return for the Plymouth game, but it looks like we're going to be losing more of this squad than we intended this year because Peter Holmes has rejected a new deal with us to go to Peterborough at the end of the season. Steve Robinson has rejected a new deal with us and he is now being touted by Bournemouth to offer a deal there. So we might be losing 3 or 4 of our stars. We've also been offering pre-agreements to other players. These were the days when you could offer everyone 6 months before, but most of them have turned us down so far. Most annoyingly, Neil Mellor had gone for as a backup to Steve Howard. He rejected us to go to rivals Watford. So he's not going to be a very popular man around here. You can see all of our injuries are edging back now. We've had an offer for Enoch Shawumi, which I've tried to negotiate. Whether we get the 600 grand we've asked for, I don't know. If we do, we'll certainly be taking it. But looking at the team today, we are without Craig Baxter, who has gone out on loan now, but we've got a few people back, so we're not in such a bad position. What we're going to do as a result of all of that is we're going to put Carlos Edwards back on the bench and bring Joe Keenan in. We'll then push Coyne and Barnett each over one. Barnett will play in his preferred position of centre half. Edwards is fit enough for a place on the bench. Dean Morgan's all right to start. And I think after the last game, I'm half tempted to bring Chris Brunt in because he's done pretty well, hasn't he? So that is the 11 for today. A whole new left-hand side. Brunt and Keenan are two in there as Barnett shuffles across, and Craig Baxter has now left the club temporarily. The rest of the team, though, stays exactly the same. Let's see if Plymouth Argyle can handle what we've got. Now, I don't want to suggest overconfidence because this is a good Plymouth team. You can see their midfield for a start. The likes of Buzaki, Georgic, Capaldi, good players. At the back, the experience of Barnes and Brevitt as well. Again, classic names. But we're a side that have had a week off. And generally, when we're only playing once a week, we're not bad. The issue is, we've obviously got a bit of a patch together team. I'm not sure Joe Keenan has played left back for us yet because he's been covering for Underwood and Shawumi with Davis or Barnett behind him. But as we go early on with the ball to Morgan, who's complaining about his contract incidentally, we are doing pretty well. But if he scores this, he might have earned it. What a run that is. He does 5 or 6 of them. In the end, though, just doesn't quite have the finish. Now Kevin Nichols straight back with a free kick. Blocked by the wall. And it's away as far as Foley on halfway. Up towards Howard, who I think is offside. Nothing given, though. And Leon Barnett can get it back again. Was making his way back from the free kick, but able to recycle possession. As Berkovic plays a 1-2 with Chris Coyne. And now Foley up towards Howard, who knocks it down. Just too strong for Morgan and just too wide to be a shot. But 15 gone, a positive start. And Plymouth struggling to deal with us as Nichols has another free kick chipped in towards Berkovic. And flicked on, goalkeeper saves. It's a pretty good start, you've got to say. Just as a quick heads up, some of the free agent deals we're looking at. I'm trying to get Kenwyn Jones as a backup to Steve Howard. Gresco, the old Blackburn fullback, in on the left-hand side. And Joe Keenan is out of contract himself, so we're going to look at him. I really want to strengthen this squad next season. My plan was to keep it pretty similar and just not lose the stars we lost in real life. But given that the likes of Berkovic and Robinson look like they're going to move on, I think we're going to have to just try and go for it here. We've got the beauty or the luxury that we've secured survival virtually already due to our brilliant start. So we can start building for next year already, knowing that there's no risk of going down and having to cap the wage bill here. As Coyne picks the ball up at the back, goes big towards Howard. We know what he likes to do. Laird there at the back. Morgan wins it. It's away as far as Brunt. Chris Coyne on halfway though. We are camped in the Plymouth half. Up to Howard again, who's having a lot of joy in the air. 1-2 with Kevin Nichols. That is sublime. And they are the stars we pointed out at the start of this save. Coyne to Howard, Howard to Nichols, Nichols to Howard, Howard to goal. 1-0 Luton Town. And the good run is back by the looks of it, as we've got an injured goalkeeper for Plymouth. And that might help us because the sub was number 61. I don't want to suggest too much, but I don't think it'll be particularly strong. As Nichols goes wide to Chris Brunt on the left. Has support inside of him. Good signing he's going to be. Barnett up to Howard. Wins it again. Morgan can't quite get there. Oh, he's having an absolute field day against this defence. The goalkeeper injured for Plymouth is excellent. The one that's come on is a youth keeper who, to be fair, is not a bad shot stopper. But he's not got the rest of the game. At half-time, it should be 1-0. It's been a really confident performance so far. Comfortable's the word the commentary's used. I'm not going to argue with that. Let's declare ourselves pleased. It's not like the modern games. Whenever you press don't get careless, they all get in a strop here. So we're just going to go straight into the second half and hope we pick up where we left off because Dean Morgan's got a corner. Coyne flicks on just at the near post. Doesn't quite beat the keeper. It's into the side netting. We're straight back with one at the other side. Dean Morgan on it again. Coyne's up again. This time he makes no mistake. The corner's a little bit deeper. He's up against Rufus Brevitt, the experienced fullback. He flicks it on. Keeper got a hand to it, but it's in for 2-0. No less than we deserve. We've been fantastic in this match. What we've got to do is avoid running out of steam at the hour mark and having that 30 minutes of pressure that we had against Reading. As Brunt gets it from the Keenan throw. Howard flicks on. There it is. 3-0. Was I talking about poor form and 4 defeats in a row when we came into this one? Well, it looks a foregone conclusion now, doesn't it? 6 points from the episode. Steve Howard's doing what we finally expected him to do from the start. And we are 3-0 up and absolutely flying. And soon we can look at the substitutes as Berkovic flicks on towards Howard. Young Laird struggling with him, although to be fair, It's not largely been on his side today. Nick Chadwick breaking free on the edge of the box, though, deflects to Taylor. I thought it was offside, but it's going to count. And again, we've let in that dreaded goal around the hour mark. Just noticed Plymouth subs keeper's got an injury as well. But that's going to make the subs wait a little longer because we don't want to get complacent as Keith Keane nearly gives it away from the kickoff. Keenan will go towards Howard. We know he's the target today. Nichols goes back to Keenan again. Down the line to Chris Brunt, who's had a solid one. Into Dean Morgan, who goes for the first time shot. Little bit ambitious that. But at 3-1, I won't complain too much. Just don't want this to get squeaky because it should be so comfortable. As Howard flicks on the kick, Berkovic can't get there. Taylor beats Coyne in the air, but Barnett should mop up. He clears down the right towards Berkovic and Morgan, both chasing, but they win it, Plymouth. And now they're in our half as Akos Buzaki. We don't want him having that much time. Out to Brevitt on the left, into Capaldi. 1-2 play, chance to cross. Brevitt into Taylor. Could be 3-2 here if we're not careful. Taylor forced out of the box, but back to Georgic. It's just wide of the post. It's been a bad 5 minutes since we went 3-0 up. Maybe complacency creeping in. Well, you can tell Plymouth are committing people forward. A couple of yellow cards as they got caught out by counters. And crucially, Steve Howard has picked up a knock for us, which is a really big worry. We've sold Vine. Shawunmi's still injured. We've not really got anyone who can offer much on that side. I'm going to have to go for Dean Morgan because he's 6 foot. He'll switch over and we'll go for Feeney alongside. I'm also going to bring on Edwards for Berkovic, who's just running out of steam physically towards the end of games. And then the only other option really, Keenan struggling a little. Keith Keane could come off. I think I'm going to go Keith Keane for Robinson, bring on the experience. But I've been really pleased with this display so far. Chris Brunt settling in now on the left. Howard got a brace. It's just about avoiding injuries. Hopefully, that Steve Howard one isn't too bad because that could be the most costly. Matt Derbyshire's on for Plymouth, but he's not offering much. And we've seen out the game more comfortably. A 3-1 win, 6 points out of 6. And that is a very successful episode on the pitch, despite a few bits of poor injury news off it and a few bits of poor contractual news too. Let's have a look at the inbox because it's Steve Howard on form and it doesn't look like he's picked up an injury. He hasn't. We got him off early enough. The worry for now, though, is what happens the rest of this month. Can we pre-agree a few good signings for the summer? Will we lose any more to free agent deals? I think pretty much all of the ones who are out this year have now been offered deals. So Robinson and Perrick could be leaving. Then it's only Beresford left because Berkovic and Holmes have already agreed to go. So it might just be a couple of little deals in the loan window and the pre-agreed for the summer ones. But otherwise, most of the rest of the stars are tied down. It's just a new contract for Dean Morgan that we've got to worry about. If we go and have a look at the fixture list, where shall we come back? We've got a lot of big games coming up. I'm trying to look at the sides up in and around the top. I've got to show the second Watford derby, I think. Sheffield United, Stoke, Southampton, all in and around there. You can see where Sheffield United and Southampton are. It feels like it's a long way away, so we might do one between now and then. We'll be back in the imminent future to reflect on a busy transfer window, I hope, some good news for the future, and fingers crossed, a bit more of a fit squad. If you did enjoy this one, though, 2 brilliant performances on the pitch, please do put a thumbs up on it. We finished the episode in 4th in EFL Championship, but will we stay there come the end of the season, or will we fall away as the real Luton side did in this season? If you want to stay up to date and find out, subscribe, turn that notification bell on as we return here every weekday from 4:30 to find out. There's also other playlists and links up in the eye above. We're going to do a fun little review over the next couple of weeks of another game I picked up recently. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Come and join us on Twitch for live streams if you still want FM24. And I'll see you back here tomorrow as we finish the week in style, hopefully with Luton Town.